Write a letter to your daughter. My name is Paul Charles, and you heard correctly when I said, write a letter to your daughter. That's what I want to encourage you to do today, especially if you are a father. I received a phone call from a father whose daughter just wrote her matric exam a few days ago, completed the exam. And he wanted to give his daughter a gift when they get the results. And he called me to ask me what I thought about the idea. He shared with me one or two ideas he had for a gift. They were fantastic ideas, and they were really good ideas. And he asked me for my input. And this is what I told him. I told him, write a letter to your daughter. I have seen fathers having high expectations of their children and being so disappointed when those expectations are not met. And their response to that is so much of harshness, failing to realize that our children will make mistakes. Our children are not perfect. And our children will grow as they learn, as we grew, as we made mistakes and learned from them. I told this father, write a letter to your daughter. I tell you, when a girl receives a letter from her father, it is one of the most precious things that she will ever receive. I've never heard my father speak with kindness to my sisters. Never. I wish he did. And while I was growing up, I made up my mind that when I have children, I'm going to speak to my children. I'm not just going to talk to them. I'm going to talk with them. I'm not just going to issue instructions and commands. I'm going to have conversations with them. And now that my children are young adults, I don't have that privilege that I had while they were with me at home. But there's one thing that I've always maintained, and I've seen its power, and that is writing notes to your children. And today in particular, I want to talk about the importance and the value of writing a letter to your daughter. If you have a daughter who has completed her matric exam, don't wait. And I want to repeat this. Don't wait until she gets a result before you tell her what you think about her. Because then it will be very much dependent on her performance and not on who she is as an individual and as your daughter. And that is why I encouraged this father to not wait until the results come in, but to write a letter to his daughter now, expressing how much of joy he feels when he hears her name, when he hears her calling him dad or daddy or appa or baba. I encouraged him to write a letter expressing to his daughter what she means to him, to reflect on the time when she was born and what joy he felt inside of him to receive this young, new infant into the world. Write about that. Write about how he feels when he hears her laughing and when she makes jokes. Write a letter to her expressing how much he loves her. And that's what I want to encourage you to do today. If you are a father, now this is especially if you are a father. If you think this is something that would be contributing to a good relationship with your daughter and creating a memory for her that she would carry into her adult life now that she has finished matric, I wish you would take it, and that's up to you. But I want to encourage you to write a letter to your daughter. I have been writing notes to my daughter from the time she was a little girl. I can remember when she went for piano lessons, I wrote a letter for her. I can remember when she fell off a motorbike when I was teaching her to ride the motorbike. I wrote a letter for her. When she was about to graduate, I wrote a letter for her. In the first year of university, I wrote a letter to her. When she went into high school from primary school, I wrote a letter to her. On her birthdays, I wrote letters to her. I've seen the power that words have upon a child. And that's why I want to encourage you to write a letter to your daughter. Now, you might say, but what about the sons? What about mothers? That is there. Maybe I will talk about it later. But today, because of this specific conversation that I had with this father whose daughter just wrote her matric exam, I'm focusing on the importance of writing a letter to your daughter. You will never know how important it is to her. You will never understand the impact of a kind, powerful faith word into your daughter's life. You will never realize it. But I promise you, your daughter will carry that letter with her to her grave. She can get married even, but she'll treasure the words that she received from her father. It will be like a guiding light for her. There's a psychology behind this, which I don't want to get into right now. For those of you who don't know, I have a Doctor of Psychology degree, and the emphasis of my research has been on cognitive behavioral therapy. And that is basically, it is how to change one's behavior and actions by changing the way that they think. So what I am telling you today is not just something that I want to just share with you. I don't know how many other fathers that are out there whose daughters wrote matric. Don't wait for them to finish to get the results before you tell them how you feel. Write it now. Because when she receives a letter now, it will not be based on how well she did or how not so well she did in the matric exam. The first message your daughter will receive before even reading the letter is that my father loves me unconditionally, and he's saying this because of who he is and who I am to him. The first message, even before reading the first line in your letter, that your daughter will receive is a message that says, my father loves me for who I am, regardless of how well I might do academically or not. So yes, I want to encourage you, write a letter to your daughter before the results come in. I'm going to visit my daughter in a few weeks' time. And before I go to see her, I took some time, because for those of you who have been following me and watching my videos and being enriched by it and whose lives have been changed, you will know that everything that I speak about is personal to me. I'm not just a good speaker. No, whatever I speak about is because of a deep passion that I have to serve you, to serve others and make their lives better if I can, and if they would listen. It's their choice to take it or leave it. So I am going to see my daughter in a few weeks' time, and I also wrote a letter to her. In fact, I'm drafting it right now, and I just stopped, paused, so that I can make this video and share this message while the thoughts are still fresh in my mind. That's why it is so live in the sense that it's in the middle of me doing what I am encouraging you to do. If you see light in it, you can be the judge of that. So one of the reasons why I am happy to share this is because I've noticed that as husbands and fathers, we take a lot of things for granted. I don't want to talk about marriage, but when we first fell in love, we had so much of kind words to say to our wives. We appreciated their beauty. We held their hands longer than necessary. We whispered sweet words into their ears, and we wrote poems to them, and we did so many special things with them and for them. But when you get married, you tend to take those things for granted. But I'm not talking about marriage now. Maybe at another time, if you request it, maybe I will share my thoughts about that. But today, I just want to talk about how we take our children for granted. Don't take your daughter for granted. Treat her well. Give her words to build her, to live by. The best gift you can give to your daughter, I tell you, is not that car. Yeah, a car might be nice, but cars depreciate in value. Yeah, clothes, you outgrow them, they fade away. Money can be lost in your hands. Material things fade and lose value, but the words that you give to your daughter, they are priceless. So I want to encourage you not to take this for granted. And I practice what I preach. I practice what I encourage others to do. So when I do that, it helps me to be part of your journey. So instead of telling you what to do, I like to encourage you in your journey, and to show you also that I feel the same pain, I go through the same struggles, and this is how I am handling it. So when I say write a letter to your daughter, it's something that I've been doing for a long time. I've written notes to my son, to my daughter, but today I'm only talking about my daughter. And I want to, in case you are wondering what kind of letter you would write, let me tell you, I cannot tell you what to write. I can tell you how to write. I can tell you about the tone that the letter should have. But what to write is personal, and only you will know what to write. But just to make myself vulnerable and to show you the kind of letters that I write to my daughter. I can't show you all the letters that I wrote to her as she was growing up, but I will share with you this letter that I haven't sent to her as yet, but I am currently working on it, and I might refine it before I send it, but I just want to share it with you just to give you an idea. And give me a moment. I want to just get my glasses so that I can see properly as I read. Pardon me, just a moment. There we are. Now that I got my glasses, let me read to you. So pay careful attention. The purpose for me to read this is not to show you what kind of a good father I am, okay? But it is just to give you an example of how to write a letter to your daughter, to inspire you, to help you. And I don't know whether you will use it or not, but it's up to you. So here's the letter. My daughter's name is Leandra. let's not forget, she never just finished matric, and she's not in primary school. She's a young adult. Okay, my daughter is a medical doctor in Australia, and so the letter would be for someone who's a young adult daughter. So your letter will be different, just to put it in context. All right, here's the letter. Dear Leandra, from the moment you came into your lives, from the moment you came into our lives, you brought a light that illuminated our home. Watching you grow has been one of the most profound blessings God has given me. Your journey is a masterpiece, crafted with your hands, guided by your heart, and inspired by God. I've always marveled at the many talents and interests you explored. Your love for music inspired us to bring a piano into our home. That's the same piano that is behind me, by the way. And the melodies you created filled our hearts with joy. When you showed an interest in the violin, we made sure you had one too, so you could express yourself through yet another beautiful medium. Whether it was painting in the art studio that we set up for you, a makeshift art studio outside our house, excelling in EGD with your engineering boots ready, or embracing the thrill of motorbiking, we saw in you a limitless potential that deserved to be nurtured. But one of the qualities I must talk about, and I admire the most in you, is something you inherited from your mother. Like her, you have a disciplined mind and an eye for detail. When you set your sights on something, you don't just dream about it, you make a plan and you execute it with precision and determination. It's your mother's influence that has given you this incredible ability to stay focused and see things through. You have her strength, her diligence, and her unwavering commitment to excellence. Watching you channel these traits as you pursued your dreams has been a source of endless joy. You saw what I did there? You see how I spoke about her mother, my wife? All right, so you can figure out why I'm doing that. Let's get back to the letter. When you stood at the crossroads, offered scholarships in aeronautical engineering, accepted into civil engineering programs, and still holding on to your dreams of medicine, we trusted that God would guide you. Medicine wasn't just a choice, it was a calling. And when you made that decision, we saw your mother's quiet determination shine in you. Leandra, you are now a doctor, a title you earned through discipline, prayer, God's grace, and relentless effort. You've walked a journey filled with challenges, but you've emerged stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever. While you no longer need my hand to guide you, it will always be here whenever you need it, for comfort, for support, or just to remind you, you are never alone. You are God's gift to us, and your story is a testament to answered prayers. Keep shining, keep striving, and never forget how deeply loved and admired you are. With all my love, Dad. Now it's your turn. My name is Paul Charles. And I want to tell you, write a letter to your daughter. She will treasure it every day of her life. It will not be a moment in her story. It will be a memory that she will treasure even when you have left this earth. Your words have life. Speak it to your daughter today.